What's up, guys? Welcome back. Back for another one. So we've got this '05 Honda Recon 250. Just picked it up. One owner bike, really clean. However, it is kind of running rich, really rich actually. So the original owner took the original carburetor off, put a aftermarket carburetor on it. So we're gonna see if we can try to get it tuned today to get it running better. Worst case, I'm just gonna take the original carb and put that back on, get it all cleaned up, and rejet it if I have to. But yeah, let's. I'm gonna start it up for you guys, kind of show you how it's running, and then we're just going to start diving in. All right, guys. So just want to give you a walk around of the bike. Like I said, it's really clean. It needs a good detail and a good shine on the plastics, but for the most part, it's really nice. Plastics aren't faded. Usually, this Honda red fades really quick if it gets left outside, and that's not the case here. The original owner told me he kept it mainly inside, and you can definitely tell. But yeah, let's go ahead and start it up. Let you guys hear how it runs. It does start up and run pretty good, but it's got a lumpy idle, and you can see all over the exhaust all black soot. So really rich. Let me start it up for you. You can hear it too. It almost sounds like the choke is on, but it's not. The choke is completely off. You can just hear the idle is not smooth, and then even when you give it gas, so it shouldn't be running like that. The whole bike is kind of shaking too. It's just not smooth. And you can just smell the exhaust and the gas. So okay, guys, we're gonna start taking this bike apart, getting the carburetor off. Like I said, it does have the aftermarket carb, so I'm gonna pull the aftermarket carb off. I gotta get it off anyway to see what jets are in it. I'd like to put the OEM carb back on it just because sometimes you can get away with these cheap aftermarket carbs and you know the machine will run fine. Other times you'll have issues like this. The other problem is that sometimes with these aftermarket carbs, they don't show the jet sizes. So I have no idea what jetting could be in this carburetor. They may say the jet sizes on them, but not 100% sure. But I'm gonna get started. We gotta pull this air box out of the way. I'm probably gonna have to pull this side panel off so I can access the bolts to get the carburetor off of the cylinder head, and then we'll get it all pulled out. So let's get started. Let's pull these plastic pins out, get the air box out. Side panel off also. I'm gonna pull the spark plug out too and see what that looks like. I guarantee it's probably black from running so rich, but we'll see. Something missing? There it is. Right in there. So you got a couple clips here for the airbox. The airbox has got to come out. You've got a clip here, clip there, and then a clip right behind there to get the side panel off. We got to get the side panel off so that we can access the 10mm nuts that are back there. You can't really see them. You can see this one right here. Same thing on the other side. Let me get the clamp off the airbox to the carb. Get the airbox out of the way. Should just pull out. I think there's a tube on the bottom I have to take off. I think that's part of the snorkel that's on it. Yep. Snorkel. Set way. All right. Yeah, so you got these 2 clamps. This is for the snorkel. This is going to the carb. And then there's a crankcase vent on the bottom. Just has a squeeze clamp. You got to pull that off. All right, so I took the fuel line off, and it looks like this this is not wanting to turn off. So I'm gonna have to clamp the line because the gas is leaking, and it's actually leaking at the filter now. So all right, so I actually had to clamp it here because the filter cracked a little bit and fuel was still getting out. So I got to replace that. I should have an extra one, but now we can get to these 2 little 10mm bolts. Can't really even see them. One right there, one on the other side, and then we'll get the carburetor off so we can get it flipped around and we can pull the float bowl and just see kind of what jets we're looking at. All right, guys, yeah, so just like I thought, no markings on these jets at all. So they don't say what size they are. The good thing is that at least they're standard types of jets. They're not, you know, weird. Sometimes these Chinese carbs have weird style jets that you can't even get. So it's impossible to change the jetting or tune the bike at all. So I should have the right size jets, the right size pilot and the right size main. So I'm just going to look it up on Partzilla and see exactly what sizes they're supposed to be from the factory. This bike is completely stock, so I should be able to put the stock jetting back in. I might bump the pilot up maybe 1, or not sure. Might just try to put the stock jetting back in it and just see how it runs. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that might not even help, right? Because inside this carburetor there's little passages, and even if the jets are right, if the passages inside are off by just a little bit, there really is not a big tolerance. You know, inside these carburetors, the passages are so small. Even with the right size jets, it still may not run right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the right size jets that I know are supposed to be in this bike from the factory. As long as I have them, I should. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to grab the OEM carb and see what that looks like, see how bad it is. He said it was sitting for a while with gas in it, so I'm assuming it was gummed up pretty bad. That's why he put an aftermarket carb in it, just didn't want to deal with it. And sometimes that works on these bikes. Like I've had a couple of these where they've had the aftermarket carbs, like the Caltrix or a bunch of different you know, off brands that they have available for the aftermarket. But sometimes you put them on, they run fine. Other times, you know, they do this. So still gotta get the spark plug out. I'm trying to find my spark plug socket. Not sure where it went, but I want to see what that looks like. But let me see if I have the right jets, and we'll throw the jets in as long as I have them. All right, guys. So yeah, as I expected, you know, just way too rich. Spark plug is like black. So probably gonna have to see if I can clean that up and replace it. It's like a no-name brand. I'd like to throw like an NGK in here or something, but we gotta get this carb jetted right first. So upon pulling the jets out, the jets side by side seem like they're almost the exact same size, like when I put them next to each other and look through the holes. So I'm going to grab the OEM carb, and I'm going to see what that looks like, because I don't think that you know, putting the jets in this carb is going to work. I think this carb is just not going to work. So I'm going to grab the OEM carb and see what that looks like. All right, so here's the OEM carb. You can see it says Kian on it. So I'm going to try to pull this float bowl off and see what it looked like. And when I popped the seat, I saw how clean the carb was. I knew it was an aftermarket carb, and I said, hey, you know, do you have the OEM carb? And he said, yeah, oh, actually, yeah, I do. So I'd rather work with an OEM carb that's dirty and clean it out and put some fresh jets in it than an aftermarket carb any day, just because this is designed for the machine, or that's just like a copy, a replica. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop this float bowl off and see what this looks like inside. All right, guys, so it's the next day. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish the bike last night. I ran into some problems with the slide, the throttle cable that goes down into the carburetor. So I tried putting the OEM carb back on. What I'm thinking is, when they purchased the aftermarket carb, it must have been a whole assembly with the throttle cable and slide, because the throttle cable and slide that's on the bike currently will not go into the OEM carb. So what I ended up doing is I just put a 42 pilot and a 95 main, which are stock sizes, into the aftermarket carb, got it all back together. Obviously it's not completely back together, but I just want to make sure it runs better. If not, I may have to play with jetting a little bit and tune the carb a little bit. I haven't started it yet, so we'll see how it starts and how it runs as is. But yeah, I cleaned the spark plug as well. Got all of the carbon buildup off of the spark plug, so it's nice and clean. So let's go ahead and start it up and see how it sounds. smoother. It's not real lumpy and jumpy like it was before. So that seems to have done the trick, just putting the stock jet sizes into the aftermarket carb. So awesome. All right, guys, it's gonna wrap up this one. Got it all cleaned up, shined up, running good now. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, you can save a couple bucks by buying the aftermarket carbs, but you know, is it really worth it? You know, sometimes you can throw them on and the bike runs fine. Other times, situations like this where you got to go in and you got to try to swap the jets out, it could be a pain. You know, unless you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. But if you're not familiar, you know, it could be kind of a pain in the butt. So my recommendation is if the OEM carb is not too bad, if it's not really gunked up to where, you know, all the passages are filled up with ethanol and stuff like that, and it's way too far gone, you're better off just rebuilding the OEM carb, putting some fresh jets in it, and going that route. It's way cheaper to do it like that as well. You know, instead of putting this aftermarket carb on that's brand new, but you're kind of rolling the dice with how it's going to run. It may run, but it just may run like crap, and it could cause you, you know, bigger problems down the road. So that's just my opinion, my take on it, guys. Do as you please. It's your machines, it's your money. But yeah, as always, if you guys like the content, please like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one.